Welcome to Kuma English Listening Hub. Today's topic is something many people try on weekends with friends or coworkers: escape rooms. You may have seen photos of groups holding a "We Escaped" sign, smiling like they just finished an adventure. But have you ever wondered how these rooms are actually designed? How do creators build puzzles that are challenging but not impossible? How do they guide you without giving away the answer? And why do people feel so excited even though they were trapped in a room for an hour? In this episode, we'll step behind the scenes of a modern escape room. We'll explore how designers create a story, how puzzles are tested, how technology is used, and what good teamwork looks like inside the room. By the end, you'll understand why escape rooms are not only entertainment, but also a surprisingly careful mix of psychology, design, and practical engineering. First, let's clarify what an escape room is. Usually, a team of 2 to 6 people enters a themed room and has a limited time, often 60 minutes, to complete a mission. The mission might be find the hidden treasure, stop a villain, or escape from a spaceship. The team must solve puzzles, discover hidden objects, and unlock new areas or containers. The goal is not always to physically escape. In many modern games, the goal is to complete a storyline. The first step in building an escape room is deciding on a theme and story. This is more important than people think. A strong story gives players a reason to care. It also helps the room feel like an experience instead of a random set of riddles. Designers often start with a simple question: what do we want players to feel? Maybe the room should feel scary, funny, mysterious, or adventurous. Then they choose a setting that supports that feeling, like a haunted hotel, an ancient temple, or a detective's office. Once the story is chosen, designers map out the player journey. Think of it like planning a movie. There should be a beginning that grabs attention, a middle where challenges increase, and an ending that feels satisfying. Many rooms are built in stages, meaning players unlock one section at a time. This is not only dramatic, but also practical. If you see every puzzle from the start, you may feel overwhelmed. Stages help the team focus. Now let's talk about the puzzles themselves. A common mistake is to imagine puzzles as pure brain teasers, like difficult math questions. In reality, good escape room puzzles are varied. Designers mix different types so that different people can contribute. For example, there are search puzzles, where you must find objects or hidden compartments. There are logic puzzles, where you match clues and organize information. There are pattern puzzles, where you notice shapes, colors, or sequences. And there are physical puzzles, where you turn handles, connect pieces, or align objects. A key rule in escape room design is fairness. The puzzle should be solvable using information found in the room. If you need outside knowledge, like the capital of a specific country, or a rare historical fact, many players will feel frustrated. Some rooms still use cultural references, but good designers make sure the answer is available through clues. For example, instead of asking players to know Morse code, the room might include a chart showing what the dots and dashes mean. Another important idea is signposting, which means showing players what matters. If everything looks equally important, players waste time. Designers use small visual hints: a spotlight on an object, a symbol repeated in different places, or a box that is clearly meant to be opened. This is a balancing act. If you make the hint too obvious, the room feels boring. If you make it too subtle, players feel lost. Let's imagine a puzzle sequence in a detective-themed room. First, players find a locked drawer in a desk. Nearby, there's a newspaper with 3 words circled. On a wall, there is a calendar with certain dates marked. When players combine the circled words with the marked dates, they get a number code that opens the drawer. Inside, they find a key, a small UV flashlight, and a note that looks blank. When they shine the UV light, a message appears, guiding them to a bookshelf where a specific book is slightly out of place. The book contains another clue. Notice what's happening here. The room is teaching you what to do: search, connect, open, and then use a new tool. This is called learning the language of the room. Good rooms gradually introduce new mechanics so you don't feel confused. Testing is one of the most important parts of escape room creation. Designers rarely build a perfect room on the first try. They invite test groups and watch what happens. Where do players get stuck? Which clue do they ignore? Which puzzle is solved in 10 seconds, even though it was supposed to take 5 minutes? Designers measure timing because a 60-minute room should feel challenging but achievable. If most groups fail at the same point, the room may need an extra clue or a clearer instruction. Testing also reveals differences in how people think. Some players are searchers. They love opening drawers and checking every corner. Others are solvers. They want to stand near the clues and think. Some are organizers who collect items and keep them in one place. A well-designed room gives each type something useful to do. Now, what about technology? Many older escape rooms use mostly padlocks, keys, and paper clues. Those still exist, and they can be great. But modern rooms increasingly use sensors, magnets, RFID tags, and computer control systems. Instead of opening a lock with a code, you might place 3 objects in the correct positions, and a hidden door automatically opens. Or you might solve a puzzle, and the room's lighting changes, along with sound effects. Technology can make the experience smoother and more immersive, but it also adds risk. Electronics can fail. Sensors can be too sensitive or not sensitive enough. That's why professional rooms build fail-safes. For example, if a sensor does not detect an object correctly, a staff member can trigger the next step from a control panel. This keeps the game flowing without ruining the story. Speaking of staff, escape rooms are usually managed by a game master. This person watches the team through cameras and microphones. The game master can give hints if the team asks, or if the team is stuck for too long. Hint systems vary. Some rooms use a screen that shows messages, some use a walkie-talkie, others use in-story methods, like a mission control voice in a space game, or a character who sends letters. Hinting is a skill. If the hint is too direct, it feels like the game master is playing for you. If it's too vague, it doesn't help. Many rooms use a hint ladder. First, they give a small push, like, check the desk area again. If that doesn't work, they give a clearer clue, like the newspaper is connected to the calendar. Only if necessary do they give a near answer. Let's move to teamwork, because escape rooms are designed for groups, not individuals. A common reason teams fail is poor communication. People solve something but forget to tell others. Or 2 people work on the same puzzle while another puzzle is waiting. A simple strategy is to speak out loud whenever you find something. For example, I found a key labeled B, or there's a 3-digit lock here, or this paper has symbols that match the painting. Another strategy is to create a shared space for items. Put all discovered objects on a central table. Keep used items separate from unused ones if possible. This prevents repeated searching and saves time. Also, don't keep clues in your pocket. In escape rooms, personal memory is weaker than group memory. Time management matters too. If you've been stuck on one puzzle for several minutes, it may be smarter to switch tasks. The brain often solves problems in the background while you focus on something else. Escape rooms are built with multiple puzzles so teams can split up. However, be careful. Some puzzles need teamwork, especially those involving sequences, patterns, or coordination. Now, let's discuss what makes an escape room feel truly immersive. Set design is a major factor. Designers choose furniture, props, smells, sounds, and lighting to support the story. In a pirate room, you might smell wood and hear waves. In a laboratory room, you might see labeled bottles, metal tools, and flashing lights. Good props are not only decoration, they also guide attention and hide mechanisms. Many designers use misdirection, but in a friendly way. They might place a dramatic object in the room that looks important, but is only part of the atmosphere. The risk is that players waste time on it. So, professional designers are careful. If an object looks puzzle-like, it usually is. If it's only decoration, It often looks more natural and less suspicious. Safety is another behind the scenes element. Even though rooms may feel intense, players should be physically safe. Doors should open easily in an emergency. Sharp edges must be avoided. Props should not break and cause injury. Also, many companies offer options for different comfort levels, especially for horror rooms. For example, you may choose a version with no physical contact from actors. So, why are escape rooms so popular? One reason is that they give a clear goal and a clear time limit, which creates excitement. Another reason is that they allow adults to play in a way that feels socially acceptable. You can laugh, explore, and try strange ideas, and it feels normal because you are in the game. They also create a shared memory. Even if you fail, you usually leave with funny stories, like the moment someone searched the same drawer 3 times or confidently tried a wrong code. If you want to try an escape room in English, here are a few useful phrases. You can say, "What does this clue connect to?" Or, "Let's divide the tasks." You can ask, "Can we get a hint?" And, "Have we used this key yet?" If you are explaining an idea, you can say, "I think this pattern matches the symbols on the wall." And if you disagree politely, "I'm not sure, but maybe we should check another option." Before we finish, let's summarize what we learned. Escape rooms start with a story and a planned journey. Puzzles must be fair, varied, and tested with real groups. Technology can improve immersion, but it must be reliable and backed up. Game masters manage hints and keep the experience smooth. And teamwork, communication, and organization are often more important than being smart. Next time you enter an escape room, look around and notice the invisible work behind the fun. Someone designed the moment you find a clue, the sound that plays when a door opens, and the exact level of difficulty you feel. It's like being inside a living puzzle, built by people who understand both storytelling and human behavior. Thanks for listening to Kuma English Listening Hub. If you enjoyed this topic, try listening again and focus on the puzzle vocabulary and teamwork phrases. See you in the next episode.